Welcome to the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIT Podcast, where everybody eats. The BIT Podcast is brought to you by the College of Southern Nevada's Small Business Entrepreneurship Development, powered by CSN Blackstone Launch Pad. Are you ready to eat? Because this is where everybody eats. Welcome to the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIT Podcast, where everybody eats. Powered by Blackstone Launch Pad at the College of Southern Nevada. We are your hosts, Sean, Tori, and Cordon Allen. Cordon, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Man, listen, it's still Team No Sleep.
Right.
But I'm always energized still, man. It's just Team No Sleep.
Gotta keep going.
Newborns will keep you up, y'all. And I didn't realize that till this is my third kid.
Season 3.
I love it. Yes,
Season
actually,
3.
That's a good plug. Yes. I have 3 daughters, but it's season 3. Look at that.
It's all lining up.
It's all lining up. And today we have a special guest with us, a real special guest. And I say that all the time. This gentleman right here, special. And but today's episode is actually, you named this one. You named this episode. Can you tell what it's called? It's called FLAB.
FLAB, Financial Literacy and Banking.
Banking.
Yes.
Talking about the money, but not more the money, the system to the money. How do you get structure? And this gentleman today is one who's familiar with the city of Las Vegas, born and raised, full-fledged, went to Mojave High School, the other school on North Fifth. It wasn't Canyon Springs.
The other school.
The other school on North Fifth. It's okay. But this gentleman right here, scholar among scholars, men among men, who went to the University of Southern California, USC. The School of Legends. We all loved USC growing up. USC, UCLA, that's a real rivalry. I'm not going to get into that. A good brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, came through the Alpha Delta chapter.
06.
Luke, my good brother, 06 to the good bros. And also just a brother who works for JP Morgan, who's connected to Chase Bank, who's really doing big things, who sits on the College of Southern Nevada board. Like, this man does it all.
Doing big things.
Big things. Almost under 30. He was under 30. Is you 30 now?
No, bro, I'm 29.
29. Put some respect on his name. Under 30. He does. First of all, let's run. That's under 30.
Under 30 doing big things.
Under 30 doing these big things. And he sits on the board for Nevada Partners. A plethora of other boards as well, right? Yeah. This gentleman right here, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary, everyone who's watching today, the community banker, Caleb Dawkins. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's up, brother?
I appreciate that. Now I feel like I got to follow all of those words that you just said.
Hey, come on, man. It's true, though.
I really appreciate it, man. It's been a privilege and a pleasure to come back to Las Vegas and just to be able to give back, because I wouldn't be anything without this city, with some of the programs that you've been working with. That helped me when I was going to the Mojave High School. The only school, that's notable on North Fifth. We shout out to Sea Springs, but you know what it is. But again, blessed. Always love doing this stuff with you all.
Thank you.
Think this is a great show just to kind of get the information.
Yeah.
Because that's the passion. It's access to the information. You don't know what you don't know.
Agreed. And I think it's very important to talk about this, especially the banking system. A lot of businesses, they don't really understand it on the back end before just jumping into it, right? And there's so much that people should learn about it, especially if you're trying to become a business owner, especially for our students here who's a part of Blackstone. And again, Blackstone is a wonderful organization that a company, my ad, who owned and built the City Center. So for people who don't know what the City Center is, in Las Vegas, you'll see the Cosmopolitan, the Aria, the Vidor, like that, all that whole center right there. They have condominiums. Blackstone built that, right? And they have an initiative called Blackstone Launch Pad that's across the U.S., different colleges and universities. And Mr. Cordon is a student of that, right? He has his own business. He's learning the struggles. On both the federal, local, all those levels to make sure he navigates so he can continue to flourish as a business owner. But and that's what ties all of this together, right?
Yeah.
He's it's really for him. And it's not just it's for all the students who are really, they go to school to find their niche, but also learn the business side.
Yeah.
And banking is one of them.
Well, with that, give him a round of applause.
Yeah,
it's not easy being an entrepreneur. So
for real, man. How coming back to you, Cordon. How does it feel to be part of Blackstone? And like, because we've been doing a lot. So outside of just the podcast, there's been so much stuff we've been doing. And you're getting the chance to network with different business owners and different, multiple great, phenomenal people who are part of different industries. How does that feel for you?
It's been great. A bit overwhelming at times, you know.
Sure.
Just in these past couple of months, I've met so many people who have connections to put me in places where I didn't even think about going before joining. But I'm just grateful for the opportunity, you know, just looking forward to the next step after that. So, yeah.
And I put you on the spot a lot. And I'm not apologizing for that.
It's okay. I always deliver.
Yeah, that is facts. This man does deliver. And I'm looking forward to this young man growing. And this is an example of what if anybody's looking to be a part of Blackstone, it's exemplified what this young man did. He did what he needed to here at CSN, going to UNLV, but still part of CSN Blackstone. So we thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
no problem.
Stay consistent.
Of course.
Remember us when you get big, especially when you need somebody to manage your money. Just look out for your boy. You know
I
what
got
I'm
you.
saying?
I got you.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, like going back to you, good brother, we're gonna get to the first segment, which is the blueprint, where we ask how you got your start, like how you started the blueprint. How did you start, Caleb Dawkins? So, Caleb, good brother, please, if you could, let us know, how did your blueprint start?
Like I said, it started in Las Vegas, honestly. Going to Mojave High School, I think most likely my senior year. So senior year, we were a turnaround school, essentially, which means government stepped in. They fired 50% of our staff. So we had a lot of news coverage. And that gave us an opportunity of getting a lot of the city of Las Vegas focus. At the time, I was ranked number 2, and I had got into 30 universities. 30 universities, got a lot of money in scholarships. And you coming from Mojave, and all you do is just get kind of like the bad rep from Mojave High School. Right. So it was like, they're actually putting out good students. Got into USC, and I really wanted to focus on accounting because when I was Googling, accounting is one of the jobs that gets you a job right out of college. And we was broke or whatever. So I needed to make sure I could pay off USC loans. I had to take a semester off. I came back to Vegas to help my mom and dad because they were going through some stuff, and I was a teller at Bank of America. Okay. And I remember this dude coming in. I would have to come in earlier than him, and I left later than him. And I'm like, yo, what's up? But I knew he got paid more than me, and anytime I had somebody that had a large sum of money that they would deposit into their account, I would have to take a screenshot and send it to him. Mm-hmm. So one day I was just chopping it up with him, and I was like, yo, what is it that you do?
Yeah.
And he was like, I manage investments for wealthy people. And I'm like, there ain't no reason why you work less hours than I do. You talk to way more important people than I do, and you get paid more than I do. So I'm trying to do that. So I went back to SC, and I started focusing and Googling stuff on wealth management, asset management, to give me an opportunity of what are the rich doing that I could take and bring back to my community so I could, get the bag like they were.
Right.
And then finally I found an internship with JP Morgan in LA, went in there, thought I killed it, and they rejected me. They was like, nah, bro. Wow. And that was it's when you want to do something, this is what you want to do.
Yeah. And
when somebody says, it's like, yo, I know I'm if you give me an opportunity, I could show you that I'm meant to be here. So what I did is I used that as a way to get me at another internship in New York. Because in my mind, I'm thinking look, I didn't get this internship, but they don't know me. So let me get my foot in the door.
Right.
Just so that when I do get an interview, they already know that yo, he does good work. And I'm going to do it in New York City because that's where JP Morgan is headquartered. So I essentially use that as an opportunity to go through our address book. Emailed private bankers all across the country. I'd probably do 10 a day and try to get coffee with a number of them. And then finally, I networked so high up to the head of the recruiting for the private bank for the country. And then she got me a full-time interview. And then I started off in San Francisco. All that to say is that, number one, I wanted to graduate from college in 4 years. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to be a super senior. Yeah. But even though I didn't graduate in 4 years, if I didn't take that semester off, I would never have that additional summer to intern with JP Morgan, which is my job now. Number two is that I didn't get the internship first time around, and I had to work harder to network to get that. So doors close, but doors close for a reason. All that to say is the blueprint, it was not, straight trajectory, success upon success. Yeah. it was like, yo, getting, pushed down and then picking myself back up again and trying to figure things out. So that's, the blueprint in a nutshell.
Man, I'm gonna give my brother.
No, I appreciate that.
His round of applause and flowers, because I think when we think of a blueprint, by the time we see one in real time, that's the final version.
Yeah.
There was multiple versions before
Right.
we even get to the final print. And I think it's important that you mentioned that, because that was the purpose of when we created this segment. When I say blueprint, we think it's just the final night. No, we've gone through this rough draft, that rough draft. We thought this was it, but that wasn't it.
Yeah.
And it's about how to navigate to get to the final one, because this blueprint is essentially how you tell the story.
Right.
Right. And that's so thank you for doing that. Because,
and I think
man,
to that point, we really focus on people's successes.
Yeah, we do.
But I honestly feel like the failures are so much more important.
I agree.
And the reason why I say that is like the failures give you experience to mold you for the success that's going to come in the future. Yeah. And the only reason why I learned that is because in my job, what I do is I work with like entrepreneurs that have made it. But when you're talking to them and you're managing their finances, you get to really know them. Yeah. And you're like, what was your blueprint? Like I always ask that in my meeting, and they're like, you don't realize that when I chose to kind of do my own thing, it's like I was sleeping on couches. I was hungry. I was starving. I had a business that failed, but I'm so glad that that business failed, because if it did not fail, then I would have never created the business that's successful today.
Exactly.
And like just kind of like if Bill Gates was successful at his first business, we would never have a Microsoft.
Yeah.
If Jeff Bezos was successful at his first business, we would never have an Amazon. These are sometimes usually the first, second, third, or fourth try that they've had that give us the great companies that we see and love today. So failures are probably more important than the successes.
No, I agree. I wholeheartitly agree with you, because what's crazy is people look at that and it's like, man, you crazy to keep going back. But it's that ambition. It's almost you are legit slightly obsessed with like, let me get this, because you have something that's bigger. It's bigger than money.
Yeah.
And that's one of the conversations I've started having with people. Is like, they've been trying to do something that created a way for people to have a better life or an easier way.
Yeah. Right.
It's never about money. But most of the time now we talk to youth or we talk to people and they're just trying to find a way to make money.
Exactly.
Moment.
Yeah.
It's not sustaining. It's not long term. That's why the Forex thing was funny to me, because I was like, this ain't gonna last, bro.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother conversation.
They slid in your DMs too, huh?
Yeah, they did. Well, for literally, I remember it was like consistently they were
trying to get you to join the team.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
I'd have seen this plenty of times. It's not gonna work. No disrespect, but this ain't it for me. And especially after doing some more research, and I was just like, oh, I'm good. Like, I let y'all to really not paying attention. Y'all don't know how to follow the stocks like that. Y'all just, you go to somebody who tells you what it is.
Yeah.
That's a whole, I'm good.
Rather do your own research.
And honestly, that's important though, because imagine if you didn't do that, where it would have led you.
Yeah.
If you would have just settled for, okay, well, this ain't it. Let me go over here.
Yeah.
Somewhere totally different. Instead of going back to the drawing board and trying to figure out what you wanted to do, try to make that work.
Right.
Instead of giving up on what you wanted to do and trying to do something else that was more likely to work.
Yeah. No, I mean, research is key. Going back to the drawing board, figuring it out. I mean, I have to do that. People that are far more successful than I am have done that. And to your point, it's something about it. I don't want to call it crazy, but there's a borderline like Kobe is my favorite athlete of all time.
Yeah.
And like when I hear him talk about how he was obsessed with basketball, it's like you have to literally be obsessed of your goals and what you're trying to do. And there's good and bad. There's benefits, time that's allocated. Sometimes you can't be out there with all the homies.
You can't.
And you got to be going back to the drawing board. What are you going to do because you're so obsessive of it? Yep. So like, some of the most successful individuals are just a tad bit off in the way that they think. Because they have to think so far outside the box and create things that nobody could dream of, and actually put those things in existence. And you have to be a little bit crazy just to even think that that's something that could actually take place in this world. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, bro. Ooh, damn, that was a great way to start off the episode, especially a blueprint. Thank you, my brother, again for giving us that blueprint. And we're going to go dive deeper into banking itself, because I know you have a real deep love for banking and on a side that business owners should know about.
Right.
So we're going to pass this on to my guy, Cordon, for Business on the Fly. This is your segment, sir.
Yeah, so Business on the Fly, we're going to ask you basically like either or questions, and you can pick one, or if you don't have an answer, you can plead the fifth.
Okay.
So the first one is going to be business credit or personal credit.
Personal credit.
And explain why.
Personal credit, because you have to you got to establish yourself as a business, like your personal, how are you managing your own finances? Because if you don't have business credit, when you literally go into the bank and you say, hey, I want to open up my first business, they go to your personal credit.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm saying is that starting things out, getting things started, personal credit is always focused, because if you could operate your own profit and loss sheet and your own balance sheet as an individual, then that's a good foundation to create a successful business.
Okay.
So I'm saying personal credit is a way to start things off.
Okay.
Got you.
So then here's a question I have for you.
Yeah.
Investment banking or commercial banking?
That's a good one. I would say commercial banking.
Okay.
And the reason why I say commercial banking is, again, you got to build a foundation before you blow everything up. And when I say blow everything up, is usually our commercial banking is like, yo, I'm getting revenue. I'm getting like $20 million plus in revenue. And then investment banking is like, yo, I want to go public. And that's where you get your money, like your money, but like establishing a good, reputable business, making sure your ducks are in a row. It starts at the commercial banking front. I think investment banking is where like, yo, I've established that. Now it's time to get sexy with it. And that's when the IB comes through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
That's a good point.
AI or human intelligence?
Human intelligence.
Human intelligence.
How come?
Okay.
Because I'd be like, back in the day, it would be like, human intelligence or a computer. It's like, well, you can't do nothing with the computer if you don't know how to use it.
Right.
Same thing with AI. AI is another resource or a tool, but it's only as smart as a user. And again, in my field, I can use AI, but again, if you're dealing with people's money, you don't want to talk to some robot. Like, you don't want somebody telling you like, hey, like you spending too much, you're about to lose all of your money.
Yeah.
That should come from a person.
Right.
So I think that using AI as a resource, but also having that human intelligence, that emotional intelligence from a human is very key to being able to use AI and push it to its limits.
Okay.
So yeah.
Got you.
So credit union or national bank?
I'm gonna have to plead the fifth on that one.
Why you plead the fifth, sir?
I think it really depends. It's situational. I think credit unions give you some of the better rates.
Mm-hmm.
They're more focused on like the smaller business and their key. But then there's some aspects of a national bank that might have a little bit more resources.
Right.
Right now, specifically, why I'm kind of plead the fifth is because Silicon Valley Bank had failed a few months back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Credit unions and some of these regional smaller banks got hit hard because everybody is like, yo, this bank is really small, so I'm going to pull out my money or run on the bank. But now it's even faster than back in the day because I could wire millions of dollars across the world in a matter of seconds.
Right.
So you want to have relationships with both. You want to have your credit union because they're smaller. They can give you that one-on-one type of service. Not saying that national banks can't, but national banks have some of the stable balance sheet. They're a lot bigger and larger. So if stuff like that happens, your assets are a bit safer. So I feel like having a relationship with both.
Okay.
Got you. Credit card or debit card?
Credit card. And my thinking behind the credit card is that if you know how to use loans and credit, then you can really it takes money to make money. Everybody heard that?
Yeah,
but if you don't got money, then where do you get it? You get a loan. The way that you manage a credit card is honestly how you would manage a debt. The reason why I say that is because I use my credit card for everything that I purchase.
Right.
If I could put my mortgage on my credit card, I do that because you get points.
Yeah.
And as you generate points, that's going to give you travel credit. You get dollars back and things such as that. So, and it builds credit to go back. So when you establish good credit and you want to establish that business credit, then you've already have kind of a track record to show that, hey, I'm good at maintaining loans and paying things off. But also, I like to travel.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I'm going to spend money, I'm going to put it on my credit card, and it's safer. Your debit card is just straight up cash. Somebody hack your debit card, the money goes out, it's a wrap.
Right.
Credit card, I can call my credit card department like, yo, I didn't spend that.
Yeah.
And then they can go and take it off, and they have to chase that money.
Right.
So credit card is safer and more efficient in terms of spending and getting, you know, points if you want to go on a trip or something like that. So credit card.
Gotcha.
Now, I'm interested to see what you say about this one. And I think reason being because of the mindset of the general public.
Okay.
10K in cash or 10K in assets?
10K in assets, hands down.
Now please explain why.
All right. So 10K in cash, the way that I think about it is I always go back to like my grandfather. So my grandfather, we would have a conversation, be in the backyard or whatever, and he would say something about like, yo, back in the day, I'll go to the picture show for $1 or 25 cents. Call it 25 cents. I mean, he goes to the movie. So with $1, he could go to the movie 4 times in that week, right?
Right.
So let's say that he put that $1 into his mattress, and then I come back, I find that $1 in the mattress, and I go to the movies today. How many times we go into the movies today?
Not at all.
Not at all.
You can't even get a ticket.
And the reason why is because this whole concept of inflation. Anybody went to the grocery store, Sean? You got 3 kids, so I know you. I know you be in the grocery store.
Listen,
what do you be buying?
Eggs.
Eggs. How much are eggs right now?
Eggs. The last time I bought was like at $10, $12.
10
a
or like
ridiculous amount.
Milk or anything like that.
And I get and I'm lactose, so I have to get the lactose milk,
so you
which
gotta
is
get
way more expensive too.
Exactly.
So like, and it used to be $2-3. Now it's $5-6 just for some milk.
So the reason why I say $10,000 in assets is because assets grow over time. So as things get more expensive, like milk or eggs, you want your dollars to be able to grow at the same rate, what we call inflation, as those things are. Because even though you might have $10,000 in cash, you might say like, yo, I got 10,000, but what you're not seeing is that you're losing purchasing power, meaning that back in the day when eggs were a lot cheaper, you could buy more eggs, but that same $10,000 is only buying less eggs now because eggs have increased in price. Yeah. So you need to put it in an asset that's also going to grow to keep up with inflation so you can continue to have that same amount of purchasing power going forward. So $10,000 in assets, hands down.
I can't wait till we get to the next segment. But I know you got the last one, bro.
So EIN or personal guarantee?
Ooh, that's a good one. EIN.
Okay.
And the reason why, and I think the way that you're phrasing the question is just like personal guarantee is meaning like I'm putting up my own assets.
Yes.
EIN is like I'm putting my business assets up. The way that I think about it, if there's anybody like in real estate investments, what I always suggest to real estate investors is if you own a home, we tell them to put it in an LLC. To open up an LLC, you have an EIN. Why? Because if you have a tenant in that home and they trip and fall and they sue you, they only can sue the assets that are within the LLC. Meaning like they can't come from your own personal home because that personal home is not in the LLC and it's only subject to the assets that are within the business.
Gotcha.
Personal guarantee means like, yo, you put in everything up for yourself. So once you establish good business credit, you have a business, try to do most of the transactions through your business from safety perspective, from a tax perspective. So I would say always doing it from a business just so that you could keep home and business separated.
Gotcha.
Man, so thank you for going to that segment, man. We're now going to go into the legend, and with the legend segment, this gives us insight on our guests where we ask the details of what makes the industry for the banking. And the legend is actually, if you look on the map or even if you look on the blueprint, there's that side box that has like, okay, this is what this symbol means. It gives so you know how to track what's on there. And when I think about going back to my question from Business on the Fly to bring it to the legend, the 10K in cash or 10K in assets.
Yeah.
If I was to ask a CSN student right now or just a college student alone, they're going to take that 10K. Why? We've been there. When you're a broke college student, you need that cash.
10K in cash sound real good.
That cash sound real good. Like it wasn't that long ago. Like, yeah, it was 10 when I was an undergrad. But I remember vividly like working 3 jobs and the struggle of just being an undergrad trying to make ends meet, but needing that cash just to do something.
Yeah.
And like having the vision of wanting to do a business, but never had the capital. So what would you tell a Blackstone student or a student who goes to college why you would choose, like the importance of choosing assets over cash, even though understanding their circumstance, they're not at a point where like, you know what? Okay, let me be strong and just take the assets over cash.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. Like straight up, when I was a broke college student, like I would have for sure chose the $10,000 in cash, because like before I'm even thinking about the future, like I got to make it to the future. So I got to eat right now. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that $10,000 in assets, but you also have to be just realizing what it is, the situation that the person's in. So what I'm saying is don't save so much to where like you struggling. Yeah. Like if your account is being overdrafted because you're putting $10,000 in assets, then maybe we need to understand how much is actually going to be feasible that you can save. What I would tell a college student is like, look, right now with different apps like Robinhood or something, you don't need to buy a full share of something. You could buy a micro share. So like if you was going to get spend $1.50 on Gatorade or something like that, there's apps like Acorns where it'll round it up to the next dollar and take that 50 cents and put it in the market and buy micro shares. The reason why I'm saying don't put all your money in that, but just start to do it. Why? Because people talk about like, if we talk about Forex or stuff like that, it's like day trading, timing the market. What I tell to any of my billionaire clients, millionaire clients, it's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. The thing that college students have that even the wealthier individuals that have created their business is the most valuable asset in the history of the universe is time. And what these younger students have is time. $1, putting it in the market and growing it like over I think it's 20-year time period, something like that. Don't quote me on it. The S&P 500 annualizes a rate of return of like 10%. So if you put $1 in there and you started from the beginning, that dollar is going to grow. And then $1, it'll be $1.10, and it's 10% times $1.10. So it's going to grow and grow and grow. Right. So as a student, take the little bit that you can to invest in the market. So by the time you graduate, you got a little something that you could work with, and those assets are growing. So it's so important to start now because you need that time. And the more you can invest money, the longer you can, the more money that you have at the end. So like simple as that. It's just it's a numbers game.
Got you. So a lot of people like my age, college students, like we were talking about, more focus on being rich than being wealthy. Yeah. It's kind of like a 2-part question. First, I would like for you to explain the difference. Yeah. And then what are steps that younger people can take other than like the Acorns app and Robinhood to that wealth?
Absolutely. So that's a good question. How do I think about rich versus being wealthy?
That's a loaded question, bro.
Yeah.
Because
like being rich, I feel like being rich, the way that I see it is that there's like an ending, there's like a time. Like you being rich ends when you're done.
Got you.
Like when you're dead, it's a wrap. You're rich.
Right.
Wealthy, I think a generational wealth.
Right.
Meaning like your riches, I guess you could say, are now going even farther than your life could take you. So when I'm thinking of wealthy, I'm thinking that my kids are taken care of, their kids are taken care of, their kids are taken care of, because now not only am I rich in money, but I have time. Now I don't have to do anything just because I need money. I can be strategic in what I want to do, and I can be strategic in what I want my kids, children, family members to do. So when I'm thinking of wealth, I'm thinking of generational wealth. When I think of rich, I think of more like flashy, some of your Instagram influencers. I got the 10K in cash you know what I'm saying? Wealthy is being ahead. It's like, wealthy is a legacy. Like essentially, what is my money going to do when I'm gone? That's what I think of wealth. Gotcha. In terms of your next question about what are some other tools, there's things like Rocket Money. Which is an app that essentially will tell you weekly what you spend, so you can actually monitor like how much you're spending. There's things like I said, Acorns. I love Acorns because it saves without you even knowing. So you put in like, hey, if I spend $1.50, round it up to $2, and they'll take that 50 cents and they'll put it into the market, and it's doing it without you even knowing.
Gotcha.
And I love that, because what I'll sometimes do is I'll have it run in the background, but I'll delete the app off my phone. And then like one day I'll go in it and see them like, yo, like I actually got a little bag in here.
Right.
There's things like you could Credit Karma.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Credit
just
Karma.
like to monitor your credit. Like there's so many opportunities for you to monitor your day-to-day credit just to see how things are doing. So like some of those apps, E-Trade, Robinhood, Fidelity, Chase, You Invest. Shout out to Chase.
Yeah.
So like I think this day and age, there's so much technology that you can use to make your relationship with money so much easier and better. You don't got to be the smartest person in the world to know how to manage money, just because you can use resources to be able to make these things a lot easier.
Gotcha.
So then my question would get to if I'm a Blackstone student, or I'm a student and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get my business off the ground.
Yeah.
What are things they should know so that they're measured up for success?
Yeah.
Going to a bank, like they're starting like, okay, I'm gonna go to a bank to open a business account.
Yeah.
And I need to just learn the ins and out of my industry to how I can really grow.
Yeah.
Because when you're a young business owner, you ain't got a whole lot of money.
Right.
There's fees attached to that.
Absolutely.
Right. So what would you say to those students who are like, hey, I'm gonna start my business account, but I don't have a whole lot of capital.
Yeah.
So what would you advise to them?
Yeah. So number one, like if anybody is starting a business, young or old, mentorship is so key.
Yes.
Because like even myself, it's like I'm in the banking system, but like when I try to open my business account, I didn't even know what I needed to do just because I operated in a new segment. So I'm saying if I'm in the industry and I'm still trying to figure things out, imagine somebody that's not in the industry that's trying to, figure things out. So number one, mentorship is key. Number two is that opening the business account and being with a firm, establishing a relationship, whatever that banking institution is so key, because a lot of the deals are not even made based off of like if your business is great or not. It's just be like, yo, do I like Sean as a person? What is he trying to do? What resources can I pull from the banking institution just to make sure I help them out? Because there's going to be days where like Sean's business might not be doing great. And you need to make sure you have a strong relationship with that banking institution that they can say like, hey, I've seen others that have experienced this. Try this out. Or you know what? We don't have those services here, but I know somebody else in the community that you can contact to help you out. So having a strong relationship with whatever financial institution that you bank with is super key. And three, the risk. People think entrepreneurship and they talk about it as like it's the glam and it's great. And don't get me wrong, entrepreneurship is amazing. But boy, does it take time and effort. Like people really are starving because they're putting everything into their business.
Right.
So you have to understand that, like we said at the beginning of the show, it's very rare for you to like start a business and like straight up off the back, it's going to take off.
Yeah.
So you need to be ready to weather those storms. And be able to just be like, continue to keep motivated and don't get pushed down when things get difficult. Because like I choose a 9 to 5 job right now, because right now I'm not necessarily ready to take a risk on going on my own and doing that. So it's like understanding the risk and being able to kind of like weigh those. Like, what are you going to prioritize? And if you're going to start go the entrepreneurship route, what are the risks that are ahead of, and are you ready for that and prepared?
Got you. Well, thank you so much, good brother, for coming onto the show and giving a plethora of knowledge, plethora of wisdom that I know I'm going to sit back and marinate on. I know you can do that.
A lot of game.
But definitely a lot of game that our audience and our students and our youth and community can really take heed to. Because you got me thinking, there's some things that, my businesses are doing great, but long term, is my business going to be wealthy enough to when I'm gone, it's going still? Yeah. Because my intent is for wherever I do anything, I want it to be successful on its own without me.
Right.
So I just want to thank you for that. And I want to go ahead. Let's go into our last segment, which is the happy hour. And in this segment, we take a toast amongst all of us as the hosts and the guests on success that's going on in our lives. And we have these new mugs. One that you get to keep. But that's these new mugs. You know what I'm saying? And what we're going to do here, mugs. We're going to give a toast and say what's going on great for ourselves. So what's going on great, good brother?
My brother is actually starting at the University of Nevada, Reno.
Nice.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy for that. Just because, and like shout out to Sean.
Come on.
Is the GOAT out there, like, man. But like that's huge for me, just to see my brother to be going to college, pursuing higher education. And I was a little scared. I didn't know if he liked it, but like, man, I can't even get him to call me back or text me because he's having a good time. So
he having a good time?
That's been a really good thing that's been happening in both mine and my family's life. So toast to that.
No, man, beautiful. What's up with you, Cord?
There's this new entrepreneurship program that I'm trying to get into. Just looking forward to that. Fingers crossed that I get accepted, and you know, there's a lot of great opportunities on the other side of this program. So,
hey, who's ever reviewing the application, let my man's in. Like, come on.
Hey, we'll see. I happen to know what program he's talking about. And I'll echo, because the program he's talking about is the YES program, the Youth Entrepreneur Success Program. And I happen to co-create that with Mr. Shondell Newsom. And
great.
We got some big things coming. He's one of the applicants. Like, we had over 40 plus applicants. It's a lot to go through, but myself, Sarah, and the team of Some New Marketing, we gonna make sure we get these kids right, get these students and youth right, so that they have their just due. And that's what makes us smile. Like, I always wanted to create programs that economically make a shift.
Yeah.
And that's all I care to do, you know, and I'm thankful. That's my toasting too. So salute to your brother. Going to my alma mater, to Cordon. Let's pray for you. Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you.
Cheers. Oh, yes, I like this. This makes me feel fancy.
It's ginger ale, by the way.
Ginger ale, yes. So with that, we don't get in trouble. It's ginger ale. And Caleb, please let the people know where they can find you, good sir.
Yeah, so you could definitely reach out to me. One, Instagram is making.sense. At Instagram, let me redo that. That's makingsense.money. On Instagram, you could also hit me up on my email, which is caleb.dawkins@jpmorgan.com. And again, I love to help people. I've been there. So anything that I could do to be of assistance, let me know. So reach out.
Sir, thank you so much, Caleb. Deeply appreciate you again for coming on the show. Loved every moment. This was a great one. And I'm looking forward to watching this back and watching what everybody else has to say, because I know they're going to be hitting you up. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats. I am your host, Sean Torrey, along with Cordon Allen, and we're out of here, y'all. Y'all have a good one.